Hello and welcome to the Business Growth Show, where we talk about all components of business and how to utilize them for exponential growth. My name is Athin Cassiotis. I'm a business growth expert who help business owners grow and scale to create wealth and freedom. Today, I have an awesome guest. His name is Robert Radnoti, and Robert is an internationally acclaimed life coach and strategist, high-performance mentor, and leadership development expert who has reshaped the lives of thousands of clients, athletes, and organizations. A serial entrepreneur with global experience spanning decades, Robert shares his life force as a masterful visionary and philanthropist so more people can awaken their minds, step into their fullest expression, and consciously create their legendary health, wealth, and joyful success. And ultimately, Robert is a veteran change catalyst who helps his clients align their mind, body, spirit, and business so they can redefine their lifetime legacies on the foundations of love, connection, and meaningful purpose. Welcome, Robert Radnoti, and thank you for being on my show.
Thank you for inviting me, and it's an honor to be here. Wow, my assistant Kristen put that together. I didn't see it before, so that sounds pretty good.
Love it. Awesome, Robert. It's amazing to have you here, and yeah, love to start with some energy. And yeah, you've got a lot of great experience, and I'm sure it's going to be awesome for everyone watching and listening today. So you're a very successful entrepreneur. So for those people who don't know who you are, please introduce yourself by telling us more about you and your journey.
Well, my professional journey, I've had three kind of distinct careers. So I graduated from college with a chemical engineering degree and went to work for Exxon. And I worked for that oil company, Esso, in your part of the world for 25 years. And then I quit to become the head track and field and cross-country coach at Pepperdine University. And it didn't pay very much money. So I had to become an entrepreneur because I came from the corporate world. We weren't really doing entrepreneur things, although I did found a nonprofit corporation that was pretty successful. But I wanted to work with athletes, and track and field and cross country were my sports. And I just was really passionate about that. And so I just left Exxon in a nice salary to coach track and field and cross country. While I was there, unfortunately, at Pepperdine University, we didn't have much in the way of funding or scholarships, and I wanted to win really badly. I'm very driven to win. And so it was interesting. Someone told me about hypnosis, and I started thinking, going like, I wonder if I could hypnotize my athletes to run faster. And there's a pretty famous hypnotherapy school in the Los Angeles greater area in Tarzana, and it's the only accredited hypnotherapy school in the world. So it's not like something where you go to for a weekend or a week. It's a 1.5 year long program, 20 to 40 hours a week, including a 300-hour internship. So it's very, very involved, and you learn it really, really well. A lot of the famous hypnotherapists have all gone there, including Joe Dispenza and Marissa Peer in the UK and others. So I decided I'm going to go there and learn how to hypnotize my athletes to run faster. And it was so cool. The very first meet where I hypnotized 6 brave athletes allowed me to hypnotize them in front of the whole group. And the next day they ran just great. All of them set personal records. 2 of them broke school records. I thought, I've got it. This is it. And unfortunately, the next Monday, my athletic director called me in, and he said that I heard what you did Friday night. I go, yeah, it was so cool. The kids ran well, blah, 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 blah. I was really excited. It was like the first thing he said good to me in like 8 years that he was there. And he looked at me and says, you can't do that. He kind of waved his finger. He said, no, you can't do that. I said, what? He said, we're a Christian university and you are playing God. And I go, oh, man. I didn't think I was doing that, but I get where he was coming from. But the fortunate thing was that I learned hypnotherapy really well, and by that time I was already helping people all over the world. This thing called Zoom that we're on was created or started about the time COVID started. And I started doing hypnosis over Zoom all over the world, including in your country in Australia. This is my most infamous or famous or interesting story is I hypnotized a dog to stop barking in Australia over Zoom.
Love it.
And along the way, I got really involved with personal development. Exxon's really great about that. They want to develop their people. And I started a program called Investment in Excellence then, and then got involved with the Stephen Covey work and 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and always became the trainer, facilitator of each event. And then it evolved to go into Tony Robbins and Joe Dispenza and Abraham Hicks and Brendan Bouchard and all the people that we have in the US. I know that you've got some unique people in Australia and in other countries. Everyone's got their version of it. And it was just fascinating and fun for me and energizing. And now I get to teach that to other people. So that's sort of my journey.
Yeah, I love it. What an amazing journey. And yeah, interesting stories about how it takes you to where you are. And I love the dog part as well. It's like, it's for anybody and anything in that way to help them to get a different result. So let's talk a bit more about hypnosis now, because obviously you're definitely a master at this. And I love that, you went to this school that was very deep. It wasn't just like a few-day course and then you're done. It was like, year and a half and basically full time, which is, so let's just, for people that don't understand, I guess, the base of what hypnosis is, can you talk about how it works like on a neurological level and what, I guess, changes happen in the brain as well?
Yeah. So what I like to start with is describing what we call the theory of the mind. So if you think about like your mind, like it's sort of like that design, when you're first born, only a small sliver of your mind has been developed. And all it knows is fight or flight. There's now fawn and freeze, I think, but most people know fight or flight. But as you're growing up from about birth to about 8 years old, everything is stored in your subconscious. Around 8 years old, a more of the conscious and unconscious mind becomes developed, and there's a critical mind or analytical mind portion of your brain that becomes distinguishable. Until that point, literally every experience you have, sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, all are stored in your subconscious because you don't have a way to filter it in. Everything is stored there. So we have these incredible things that happen, but we have a lot of positive experiences that happen and thousands of negative experiences in both, but they're in there in our subconscious. And our conscious mind is only about 12%, and some research suggests it's as little as 5% of your mind, which means that your subconscious mind is 88+% of your mind. After about 8 years old, you have this filter now, and you can decipher whether this is something true to you, whether it is stored or not, or discarded. And the best example I have is really the story of Santa Claus. Kind of growing up, most people in the Western world believe in Santa Claus. And then somewhere around 8 years old, plus or minus a little bit, either a parent or a neighbor kid or older sibling says, there isn't really a Santa Claus. And you start thinking about, maybe you throw a tantrum and say, yes, there is. And you cry a little bit, and then you go home and you start thinking about it and you go, I wonder if now this big fat guy with a white beard, he wears a red suit all year round, and he lives in the North Pole. He's got these elves, and they make toys all year round. And then the night before Christmas, they get on this sled, and it's pulled by 8 reindeer, plus one in the front called Rudolph that has a red nose, and he puts all the toys on the sled, and then he flies around the world and lands on each person's roof, and he climbs through the chimney, and he leaves presents, and if we've been good, we leave him some cookies and milk, and he has that. Maybe that's how he got so fat. And then he gets back up the chimney somehow, and he flies everyone else, and you go, I don't know if I believe that any longer. But it's been in your subconscious and you believe that. So what hypnosis is actually, it's not it's not really going to sleep. It's overwhelming the conscious mind so that you drop into subconscious. Okay. And it's just putting yourself in a position where you're open to suggestion. So that's what hypnosis means. You've slowed down your brain waves from where we're talking right now, beta brainwave state. We slow it down to alpha, which is the first state where the external environment isn't as important as the internal, but we go even deeper with hypnosis to the theta state. And there you're open to suggestions. And as a professional hypnotherapist, we have a code of ethics that we only take things that are valuable and that truthfully come from the client to suggest into their subconscious, so that we can either strengthen one of the experiences that they might have already had, we can lessen or eliminate a negative experience, or we can create a whole new experience in that subconscious, because the mind doesn't know whether it's real or it's imagined. So through hypnosis, we can help people with, I think we've got a list of about 156 different things that that people have stuck in their subconscious that they don't know how to change. And we can help them really, really effectively with that. If we get them to that optimum place in their subconscious, in that theta state, and the client is open to it, that we can make some significant changes in their lives. And it's so fulfilling. It's unbelievable. So even though I wasn't able to take our Pepperdine track team and help them run faster other than one weekend, it's turned out to be such a blessing for me and for the people I get to work with. And it's fun.
Yeah, I love that. Really awesome. So powerful. And I've done a lot of research like this, and how a lot of healing and a lot of, instant change can happen in the theta brainwave, that we get some of that, while we sleep in different cycles, but to be able to access that state now. And I think there was one key point that you said there, that the client is open as well. So if you have your partner or something and you just want to change them, but they don't want to change, then it's not going to happen, right? At the same time.
No, and at least at our school, we sort of take an oath that we don't work with our partner. That's kind of forbidden. I know some people do, but we just don't do that. But you're right. The client has to be very open to it. Every once in a while, I'll run up, and I did this when I was coaching, one of the athletes, they wanted to show coach, I'm not able to be hypnotized. And when people say that, I say, you actually go through the theta state, brainwave state, at least twice a day. Because when you're falling asleep, you come out from beta, you go to alpha to theta to delta. Delta is the deep sleep state. And so you have to go through theta. And then when you wake up, it's the same thing. You're in the delta state. You come through theta to alpha to beta as you wake up. And quite truthfully, most people go through theta at many times during the day. The best example is when you're driving. When you're driving and you're going maybe a distance and you kind of are spacing out, the radio's playing, there's commercials there because they know that when people are driving, you get into the theta state and they're actually hypnotizing you to buy, a Coke or Pepsi or, whatever it is that they're selling. That's the way advertising works, is they get you into that theta state or as close to it as they can, and they make some suggestions. And before you know it, you're out there getting a Coke or Pepsi or whatever it is that they advertise.
Yeah, I love that. And now that we have this awareness, right, it's like you can let the outside world, that this is happening in certain states, but it's more about being intentional. How can we use the theta state, right? How can we use hypnosis to be able to create what we want, or remove things that are maybe stopping us, to getting what we want? And do you want to maybe share some powerful experiences so people get, thinking what's actually possible with this? Like it could be, maybe quitting smoking or something like that, or some other areas about maybe some, so they can go, wow, I can actually, this can happen. And this can happen in a very short period of time, where I've been trying to do this for 10 years. And then all of a sudden it's happened very quickly.
Yeah. On my website, I believe I've got a list of the 144, 156 things that are different ailments or issues that people have that we can certainly work on. But the popular ones, including smoking cessation, weight loss, fear of whatever, fear of flying, fear of test taking. That's a kind of a big one. Fear of public speaking, fear of spiders or dogs, a lot of different things there. There are people that are doing a lot of medical hypnosis now in California, where I was based. It's not legal. The medical profession got that a law passed where we're not allowed to do it. In New York, I've got a really good friend that's just an amazing medical hypnotherapist and works with a lot of people. So it can be done. And just as a certified California hypnotherapist, I can't do that. And really interesting for me, I wanted to be like the athlete hypnotherapist. I dreamt of being on the Olympic team and hypnotizing all our athletes to run faster. And like oftentimes happens in life, God or the universe, source, whatever people believe in, has a different plan. And as I started gaining clients, a good portion of them are relationship issues. Either how to leave my spouse, how to get someone, how to improve my relationship. I would say that 75% of all my clients are relationship ones, which that's not what I wanted to do, but that's where the clients came, and I've been able to help a lot of people in those areas. So it's been really a joy to do that too.
Yeah, I love that. Really powerful. And I guess there's two different types of clients, from my understanding, right, that could come to you. There could be one that they sort of know this. Oh, I've got a fear of spiders or a fear of this, or I want to quit smoking. But maybe there's some other clients going, hey, something's not working. I'm trying to do things, but I don't really know what it is. Maybe they don't know what the fear is. And then maybe is there a coaching approach or something that you do to try and sort of find out what those things are, and then you go in and then adjust it from there?
Yeah, sure. For sure there is. Because I'm also a certified coach and trainer with Tony Robbins and Joe Dispenza. So there's so many things popping into my head when people come to me. But here's the interesting thing, and I think most coaches find this to be true. The initial reason people come to you isn't usually the real reason they came. And, if people just want one session to address something, that's fine. But a lot of people actually find such great value that I work with them over longer periods of time, and all sorts of stuff comes up and they go, oh yeah, I need this. I can use some advice here. And it just comes up in the process. So actually a session, maybe I'll describe what a session is. The first portion of the session, after the first one is unique, but after that, we spend probably 15, 20 minutes talking about what's going on in their life. What's going well, what's not going so well. And from that, the client will say, oh, I didn't really realize this, but this is what I want to work on in the hypnosis part. And then we'll talk some more about that. And the hypnotherapist, a good one's taking notes along the way and pulling out significant or words or phrases that they really want. Because remember, what hypnosis is just putting people in a state where we can suggest things to them into their subconscious, so we can make that real and permanent in their subconscious. So it generally all comes from the client. And I've got good notes so that by the time we get to the portion where we're hypnotizing them and getting them to the optimum state where they're most open to suggestions, we get them placed, and then we put in there what they've already told us they want from that session. And so it becomes a really powerful way to do this and to make change.
Yeah, I love it. Really, really powerful on the hypnosis part, and then be able to create the life that we're wanting thereafter. And I know you're very big on the law of attraction as well. So I'd love to get into this topic now. So as much as I'm aware of what it is, for those people, just in case they've sort of maybe heard a little bit or maybe heard of the secret or something, but don't really know, do you want to just give a little synopsis of what the law of attraction is and I guess the principles behind it?
Well, sure. I'm still kind of developing, because in the last year or so, I've now run into Abraham Hicks, in a channeled non-physical being through Esther Hicks. And I had heard of this a long time ago and saw The Secret and all those kinds of things and kind of blew it off as, oh yeah, that's kind of so simple. I'm way past that. And then again, life circumstances often do this where they pull you or there's clues on what direction to take. And in the last year, I was drawn back to kind of studying this law of attraction. And the reason I think for it is, like a lot of entrepreneurs, I think we are using the law of assertion, meaning that we have goals and visions and we're hard charging people and we make stuff happen and we've got strategies for all sorts of kind of things. We're forcing things, we're asserting things to happen, and we're really successful in getting things done by asserting, by taking action. And what the law of attraction is, it's kind of opposite of that. It's that you ask for whatever it is you want, like one time, not a lot of times. You don't make goals and vision boards and everything. You ask, and then your inner being, your source, your universe, your little God within you makes it happen. It just happens. And all you have to do is vibrate consistent with whatever your ask was initially. That's kind of step 3 is you vibrate high and you get rid of all resistance so that your inner being can just bring to you the things that you've asked for. And step 4 is that you just become really good at that, really consistent with that. And step 5 is that you appreciate the contrast along the way. And contrast are the things that trigger you or maybe didn't go the way that you planned them to go, because all those things help you figure out what you do want in life. And the aha I had about a month ago was because I go, okay, I'm done with law of assertion. I'm going to use the law of attraction. I'm going to vibrate high and get all the stuff I've ever wanted. Well, that's not the way it works either, because I was using it to get something. And the way it actually works is you just vibrate high for the sake of vibrating high, not for the sake of getting anything, just vibrating high. So you're thinking about fun and interesting things and bringing joy in your life, and you're just living that way. And then the asks, the things that you want, just show up. But I was sort of using the law of attraction as assertion again, because I wanted stuff. And the thing is just to enjoy every moment, whether good stuff is happening or not good stuff is happening. Train your mind to just vibrate high. And when you do that, the things that you've wanted in life are attracted to you. Now, one of the things I like to say, I don't know if in Australia, if this was a popular book or not, but about 25 plus years ago, I think there was a book called Celestine Prophecy. Yeah. And it was really kind of mind-opening for me, because it was a fable, a story, which is the way I like a lot of the teaching to be. But it was a guy that went down in I think it was South America. He was looking for these insights to life. And along the way, there were clues on where to go, what to do. And kind of the point or the things that I remember from that is life is always this way. When you become conscious of your unconscious and you open your mind, there's clues all around us on the direction for us to take, but we mostly miss it because we're stuck in an unconscious place. We just kind of are going through the motions. When we wake up, and assert things or attract things, that's great. But the majority of our time is spent in sort of unconscious mode. And so I think a lot of my work, maybe your work, a lot of people's work is getting people to become conscious of their unconscious, so that they can see the clues along life's journey to help them get to where they want to be.
Yeah, I love that. So powerful, and a great rendition between the law of assertion, law of attraction, and those differences, which is a really great distinction for everyone to learn from there. I think the relationship with our environment, I think, is important with here as well, right? Because you're talking about we need to just vibrate at this level and then we attract it, right? But there can be other things externally in our environment that can maybe stop us from vibrating like this, or impact it where it it's a bit fluctuating instead of just high vibration. So do you want to maybe talk a little bit about our environment, and then maybe how we can get into an environment to allow that to happen?
Well, so that leads me into some neuroscience work that I'm doing with Dr. Joe Dispenza, and we teach a program to corporations called Change Your Mind, Create New Results. And the first thing we share with people, and we show them how this actually works, is that if you want to change your life, if you want to change your personal reality, the only way to make a change is to change your personality. Your personality consists of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. And most people want to change their personality or their personal reality as the same personality, and it simply doesn't work. If you want to change your life, you have to change you. Once you get that, in order to make a change, you have to become greater than your environment, greater than your body, and greater than time. So you asked about the environment, because stuff is happening all the time in our environment. A week ago Friday, I was involved with a car accident. I was just driving down the highway, and a lady came from the left side. She didn't see the light on just a cross street and come barreling across and smashed right into my car and totaled it. And my environment changed. My car was crushed. It was at 11 p.m. I was coming back from a dinner with actually one of my clients, and I had a plane that I had to leave to catch at 5 a.m. I didn't get my car towed to the place until 4 a.m. So I got an hour of sleep. My environment was crushing me. But I had to become greater than my environment. First of all, to even make the plane, because this was really upsetting. The police were there, the EMS were there, everyone's there. I was okay, although now my back's starting to hurt. And the lady that hit me, she seemed to be okay the day of, but I'm hearing from everyone that things show up after an accident. But I've got no car. And training your brain, though, to become greater than the environment is really important to do, because bad stuff is happening all the time. Just think about watching news. I don't watch the news very much anymore. I think I get it on an app, but there's bad stuff happening in the world. And if you allow your brain to focus on those kinds of things, you're never going to change things the way you want them. You have to become greater than your environment. Becoming conscious of that is the first step. Knowing that, and you have this internal guidance system within you. And if your internal guidance system says, I don't feel good, I feel sad, I feel depressed, I feel angry, I feel frustrated, whatever the case may be, that is telling you that something's going on, maybe probably outside your environment, and that you've got to shift your thinking. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get the things that you really want to get. You're not going to vibrate high. You're not going to be able to attract those kinds of things. So I think that the important first step is becoming conscious of your unconscious, that stuff is happening, and you've got to become greater than your environment.
Yeah, I love that. Really powerful. And I was having a discussion with someone earlier today, and it was about the people that they were around, right? So let's say you're trying to be more positive in what you're thinking, but if they're being more negative, and this could be potentially people that are close to you as well, then it can impact you, right? In ways into that subconscious. So it's just how to be greater than that, how to not allow that to affect you. Obviously, distancing yourself is a great strategy from that. But then, like you said, you can't always do that completely, especially if it's people close, like family or other areas that are always going to be around. But then how do we then do that? So I'd love to hear it. Let's go a little bit deeper on neuroscience now. Do you want to talk a little bit more how the brain processes, right? Thoughts and emotions, and I guess, with the mind, like you've been talking about, but also with the body, I think is important to understand as well.
Yeah. So one of the things we like to talk about, there's a lot of different ways we can go, but here's a few interesting things is, let's say you are triggered by something, whether it's a news story or your partner or a coworker, and you are triggered. A chemical is released, right? Because it's all neuroscience. A chemical is released in your body that says, I am angry. And what's so interesting is, do you know how long that chemical lasts in your body before it is dissipated?
How long?
How long? Most people will guess, hours, days, weeks. The answer is between 90 and 120 seconds. The chemical in your body that is causing those negative feelings only lasts 90 to 120 seconds. So this is so great, because if you knew that, if you really knew that, if you believe that, every single time you're triggered, you could just count slowly to 10. We've heard that before, right? There's actually basis for it. If you could just count slowly to 10 or 90 seconds or 120 seconds, a couple minutes, and wait to respond without rethinking. This is the key part. Without rethinking about that trigger, you're going to be okay. And you won't get into those negative feelings, those frustrations, the anger, the disappointment, the whatever it is, the depression. And you could change your life just by knowing that one thing from neuroscience. Now, unfortunately, what happens is we rethink, we have that experience over and over again. And every time we do it, we are releasing that chemical for another 90 to 120 seconds. And before we know it, we are programming that into our body, and it's something we're going to have to change. But from a neuroscience perspective, I think that was one of the things that I really, really liked, is going, let's say I got in this car accident. I was upset for 2 minutes, and then I go, I'm okay. I wanted a different car anyway. It was white. I want a lime green car. I just started using a lot of the techniques I had to shift my thinking. And before I knew it, I was good. But I've been practicing this. Most people don't know. Most people get really upset. If you're hit by a car and you have to catch a plane at 5 a.m., it's bad news. You don't know what to do. And quite truthfully, I was in a good place. I really was. So that's something that's really important. Another thing that I'll suggest or talk about is, we have, there's a lot of parts of our brain, but we talk about the 3 parts of the brain that lead to real and lasting permanent change. Because a lot of times people go to a lot of the personal development courses, and people come back and they're good for a month or 2 or 3, and then they kind of forget about it, right? How do you really make changes? Well, knowing the neuroscience about how you really make change is kind of an important thing, because when you get information, it first comes in through your neocortex. And your neocortex is processing information that's coming in. And then it drops into the limbic brain. And the limbic brain is the portion of your brain where chemicals are released and there's emotions associated with it. So if you're repeating the information coming in, that's why I go to a lot of personal development courses often, and I listen to the tapes and I look at my notes and I write my notes, because I want to repeat it over and over, because I want it to get into my limbic brain, because when we've done that over and over again, then it drops into the cerebellum, and the cerebellum is the microprocessor. That's where now of the mind, that's where now you've got real long and lasting changes in your life. It's the way we learn to ride a bike. When we first ride a bike, we're wobbly, we fall a lot, and then we just do it repetition over and over again until it becomes in our cerebellum where we no longer have to think about it. So the process of learning, the process of change, is a neuroscience based process, where nerve cells come together and they form these neural connections. And every time you hear it make further and further connections, and before you know it, you've got a network of systems. And to lose something, if I tell you something one time, I've told you that, it takes 90 to 120 seconds to have the chemicals leave your body. You created a neural connection, says that's a fact. If you never think about it again, that nerve connection is pruned and you don't remember it. But if you think about it every once in a while, you get triggered and go, Robert said that all I have to do is wait a couple minutes and that chemical is gone. I could feel better. And that happens over and over again. Then you're creating these connections. Neuroscience is so cool because it just doesn't happen in this vacuum. There is science behind how to make change, how to grow your business, how to be an entrepreneur, how to become a great lover relationship, how to deal with your kids, how to heal yourself too.
Yeah, I love that. Really, really powerful points there about those connections and how we learn. I also do things multiple times to ingrain it in myself because it's challenging to learn it all in one hit. And I loved it's the first time I've heard it in that particular way about the timing of the 90 seconds to 120 seconds. So I'm grateful for that because I have quite a conscious relationship with my wife, and I think it's nice to have somebody, whether it's a partner or somebody else around you, that you can emotionally regulate. Sometimes you have to let the emotion out, whatever that emotion is. It doesn't always have to be anger. But if you are a bit hidden in emotion, I've just told my wife in the past, I'm like, just walk out of the room and let me go for a few minutes or something like that and come back. So now that I understand that that's part of it, then it's like, okay, well, we just need to allow that to just dissipate, and then we can go back to having a conversation and moving on from there. Yeah.
Exactly. It's science. What you're doing is science, but you learn that through trial and error, or maybe you had it modeled to you. You didn't know exactly why it happened. I think if people learn neuroscience, then all sorts of things open up, because there's actually, there's a reason that works when I take a deep breath, or I walk out of the room. I go for a jog, whatever the coping mechanisms are. It's when we don't deal with them that we run into problems, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. So true. And really powerful stuff here. And I'd love to hear from a coaching mentoring perspective, right? Because I think it's really important for us in life and in business, right, to go through, and how important, coaching mentoring has been for you in your life and what it's helped you to achieve.
I didn't know that people had coaches until I ran into Tony Robbins' world. And that was in my, I think, mid-40s. And I just heard this statement that high performance people have coaches. And Tony Robbins has a coach. And I go, holy tamale, if that's the case, I need to get a coach. And since that time, I've had a multitude of coaches in different areas. In fact, right now, I have a strength coach, a health coach, a business coach, a dance coach, a guitar playing coach, anything that I want to do in life. I've got a coach for it, because I don't know how to do it, and I want to know how to do things. So one of the things I like to tell people is, in whatever area of your life that you want to really excel, that you have passion around, go find someone to help you do it, and find the best person you can that you can afford. Some people do it for free. Some people spend thousands and thousands of dollars, but invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. If you want to accelerate your growth, whether it's growth of your business, growth of your person, growth of your relationship. I have a relationship coach. I've had a relationship coach for 8 years now. She's phenomenal. She's phenomenal. I didn't know this growing up. I didn't have good role models. I didn't read any books. I get into a relationship and go, I didn't know that you're supposed to talk through things. Little simple things. I've got a coach in a lot of different areas. I coach a lot of people, and it's been probably one of the smartest things I've ever done in my life to accelerate my personal growth.
Yeah, I love it. I completely agree. I've had multiple coaches in areas of life and business as well. And I think it's the shortcut, right? It's like you could work it out yourself, but it could take you 10 years. why wait that long? Why not take 1, 2, 3 years or whatever it is, depending on the situation, and get there faster? Because we've only got a finite time, right? Even though we might be getting healthier and living a bit longer, but we've only got a finite time. So to get into that.
I think one of the obstacles, and this was an obstacle for me, is just plain stubbornness. I thought if I asked for help or if I had a coach, that would be like cheating. I really just wanted to do everything on my own. And once I learned that high performance people don't do that, I said, well, I'm a high performance person. I want to be even a higher performance person. I'm going to change my mindset, which is an important thing to do in a lot of areas in life. You have to change your mindset, right? I had to eliminate stubbornness in order for me to really grow.
Yeah, I love that. And that's sort of linked to the ego a little bit there, which is, really powerful. And I did the stats. I did an MBA, right? And I studied this. And the stats showed that if someone says they're going to do something, they do it about 20% of the time by themselves. But if you have someone that you've invested in, like a coach, and you have regular meetings, keeping you accountable and taking action, you'll get it done 90% of the time. So that's 4.5 times the amount of output that you will get there quicker, right? So it's like a no-brainer. Even just having someone that you're being accountable and everything over time, instead of just saying you're going to do something, but then, you don't do it, or you're just not going down the right path, instead of, course correcting you and everything like that. So it's really powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that has to happen, there's two kinds of mindsets. One is the growth mindset, like you and I share, and probably most of your audience does. But there's also people with fixed mindsets that aren't interested in growth. They're not interested in a coach, and they're not probably going to get very high performance, or at least not reach their potential. They might have high performance, but they're not going to reach their potential. So that mindset investigation of each person's self is, I think, an important thing for people to do a self-evaluation on. Is, do I really want to grow? Do I really want a different kind of mindset? Do I really want to let go of stubbornness or whatever it is that holds each person back from higher performances?
Yeah. And I think for me growing up, if I look back at it, is sport for me, right? Where I've had coaches in sport and they've allowed me to push myself, similar with like martial arts, or maybe an instrument that you were learning that you want, anything that you wanted to get better at, you had somebody there to help you do it. And that's helped me ingrain my mindset, which I'm grateful for, my parents to put me through those things to go there. So maybe some people didn't get those experiences or didn't get pushed as much there, but, putting yourself into a situation where if you do really want to feel more fulfilled, right, and feel that growth, because it is a human need, as you would know from knowing Tony Robbins, then, we have to get somebody to help us, because it's like when you're at the gym. If you're trying to push it yourself, you can only push so much, but you get somebody externally, you're able to push more. And then it's like, okay, well, that's the next level. What's the next level? What's the next level from there? And we keep moving forward. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting in sport, because I come from a sport background too. And a lot of, here, at least in the US, a lot of winning coaches, Pat Riley with the Lakers and several different people, they're all writing business success books, which is just interesting to me. Like, if I'm running Exxon, why would I read Pat Riley and how he coached the Lakers? But I get you better. The best CEOs did that. And now the best CEOs are writing, how to play sports better too. It's going back and forth. It's the same concept. It is coaching. It, to your point, coaching accelerates success. It helps us get to higher performances than we can do on our own.
Yeah. Love it. So true. Awesome stuff. And it's been, a powerful episode today, Robert. So much gold's been shared. And I guess as we're starting to wrap up, what one key piece of advice would you like to give to all the entrepreneurs watching and listening today?
Everyone's on a different journey, and just be on your journey. Look for the things, the clues that life is giving you on the direction to go. If you want to grow your business, if you want to grow your person, because they're always there. And take the risk, the challenge, invest in yourself, so that you can have a joyful, fulfilled life. Because that's what we're here for, is to really enjoy life and learn and grow.
Love it. Completely agree with that. So powerful. And yeah, we connected through our network. So I learned about your awesome journey from being the engineer to the consultant to the hypnotherapist, and now being an internationally acclaimed life coach and strategist, high performance mentor, and leadership development expert. Awesome guy, so knowledgeable. We covered, so many awesome topics that went deep today, and I'm sure you continue to help more people awaken their minds, step into their fullest expression, and consciously create their legendary health, wealth, and joyful success. Very grateful that we connected, and look forward to working with you. So, Robert, how can people find you and get in contact with you?
I've got a couple of websites. One is robertradnoti.com. And if you're interested in hypnosis, it's radnotihypnosis.com. And I'm easy to find. If you just Google my name, even if you don't remember my name, Google Pepperdine University, cross country or track, and I'm still all over the place. So you can track me down. I'm easy to find.
Yeah, awesome, guys. Definitely check out Robert on those websites, and you can learn a lot more about what he's doing. And you can tell he's a master in these areas of helping you to get that success and keep moving you forward. So yeah, it's been a pleasure, Robert, interviewing you today, and thank you for being on my show. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening to this show where we talk about everything on business growth. And please like, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as Athin Cassiotis, or visit my website, athincassiotis.com. If you want to grow and scale your business, you can reach out to me on any platform to see if we're a good fit. I completely agree with you, or do I? The only way you know is if you tune in next time. So until next time, remember that our business grows when we learn skills and take action using them in spite of fear. So remember to design your growth and results.